All right, so I want to go over Bitcoin. Doing this video a little earlier than usual. I usually do these, I guess, well, I guess it really depends on when you watch them, but for me, it's later in the afternoon or the evening. But the markets are actually closed today in observance of Good Friday. They open back up on Monday, but Bitcoin's 24-hour market. So, but this is kind of what I wanted to highlight. So, sometimes I will draw patterns and stuff like that on my charts, and this one's actually called an ascending triangle. So you have some support as price rises. You usually have a big price bump, and then that forms, this ascending triangle. So price stays flat, and eventually it breaks out. So it broke out of it last night. And then I saw a lot of posts that we're going new all-time highs. It's not uncommon for it to break out of a pattern and then come back and retest that pattern. So we're kind of towards the end of this ascending triangle. And what's our price target? So right where it broke out, the price target is right around 63 and a half. So we'll see if that plays out. Right now it's showing some weakness, but that's on the 4-hour time frame. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide this, because we have already gone through it. So 63 and a half is our target. So let's see, as far as the run goes, how it looks across some of our other indicators. I think the hourly, it had broke down and then it came back all in that one candle. We've been having pretty much sideways price action, so that's kind of been a little unreliable. So you have to kind of be mindful of when maybe some of your indicators or something like that are kind of becoming less reliable. In times of consolidation, the 1 hour is kind of becomes, less of less profitable, I guess. I mean, it still works, but it'll get you in and out, in and out. So if you end up having like maybe 2 or 3 trades where it's in and out, you can automatically start to see that you're getting in some sort of consolidation area. So the hourly's there. I know that the funding rate had gone pretty positive. Yeah, so we could get some. I mean, I know that we broke out of that ascending triangle, but given where we are on the T sequential count on the daily, we're on an 8. This 8 could have been the high, and then we get 1 to 4 candles, pull back maybe to this area right here, like 58 or something, which would essentially just be more consolidation. We can see here that we're positive on the funding rate. We have been positive on the funding rate. See, that broke down there. We were really extremely positive here. We still had a couple of days of upside, and then it broke down. So we could have, one big day of upside to break our previous all-time highs, and then, have a pullback. On the weekly, it's getting pretty high. Now, compared to 2017, that's nothing. So we could go much higher. This was in May. We could go much higher and then go negative, have some pullbacks on a couple of weeks, and then continue up the run. But for this cycle, the funding rate in particular is actually pretty high. So we got to be mindful of that. Even though it's nice to see price rising, we got to be mindful of that. And our week is closing above the prior week high, which is good. I do want to show this pi cycle moving average, which has been historically good at whenever it crosses, signaling within 5 days. Now there was one time that it crossed, and then 40 days that was the high. But this is kind of like we're starting to get towards the part of the cycle where you kind of you're kind of checking off your boxes to indicate we've reached the high for the cycle. So I mean, in Bitcoin towards the end, like in 2017, we doubled in like a week or two. We went from 10,000 to 20,000 so fast, and this could be very well could happen. This time as well, where we're at like 60,000, and we could go to 100, 120,000 within like a week or two, and then that would be the high. So we're getting very close for this from crossing. It'll probably cross within, I would say, no more than a week or two. And if we get a big price run up, that could mark the. I mean, that's one of those things that we're going to check off as far as uh, getting towards the back end of the cycle. Um, but yeah, so I think we're going to break these highs. I don't think this is a high and then a secondary high, but time will tell. So we're already starting, looks like, to reverse. And the funding rate is kind of high. We can look at the money flow. The money flow is actually starting to go down, which is not good. Um, on the 4 hour, it's doing kind of the same, where we're getting divergence, but it's kind of divergence with the price, so it's really not a bearish divergence. But on the daily, it's trending down as price is going up, so that's not actually good. Well, this actually technically would be something what they call hidden divergence, as the indicator's trending down and the price is going up, uh, which means a continuation in the trend. So I would like to see that go up, but as of right now, it's still a hidden divergence, a hidden bullish divergence. So RSI is, it's been trending down as we're getting higher highs. So this really needs to break out if we're going to get a another, I would say, another couple of months, maybe 4 to 5, 6 months, as of maybe bullish price action. This really needs to start breaking up. Maybe I'm not going to put a timetable on it. I'm not going to put a timetable on it, but this needs to start. This needs to start running up and break this previous RSI, this previous RSI, and that previous RSI to really see a surge. I mean, right here we're even having resistance here at 62, 63. So we need to break up for that to be sustainable. On the weekly, it looks like we bounced off of that 70. So that's good. What else can we look at? We can look at on balance volume, and that's kind of with consolidation, it's going sideways, which is good. Daily, same thing, and 4 hours probably doing the same thing. No, it actually came down, but again with price, so this really needs to start trending up. We can just look at the Bollinger Bands. They're probably still compressing on the daily and the weekly, which means that on the weekly, that's high volatility, and you can look at the Bollinger Band width to confirm that. Not as high as here, but it still is, but you can see it's going down, right? I think I said it on my last video that maybe we would find support here and then we would break out, but we could just continue to consolidate. But that could be a reversal point as far as volatility goes, where we could get increased volatility. On the daily, again, it's still trending down. So is it the lowest it's been for this whole cycle? Let's say the cycle started in sometime in 2020. Let's just use July. Well, that was high volatility because of COVID. Yeah, so it's pretty low, 0.07. It's double where it was in October, but it's still pretty low for the cycle. Here, we had back in December, right before it broke 20,000, low volatility, or lower volatility. So we could see a price spike. CMF is trending down, but like I said, it's hidden bearish divergence. Bullish divergence, sorry, hidden bullish divergence. We can look at the hash ribbons. I haven't looked at those in a while. Those look okay. These really don't mark buy sells. It's just a buy indicator. You have to use something else to signify a buy, but I mean they haven't crossed yet. Again, it's not a sell signal, but they're still. I mean, hash rate has been increasing. There's more mining equipment coming online. We can look at the guppy, see what the separation is on that, what that kind of looks like. Yeah, there's high separation. So, man, I just wish we would get some consolidation, but the consolidation would have to be probably months, which isn't likely in a Bitcoin bull market. I mean, you can see here where we came down in 2017. I don't think this whole run we've come down to that. Nope. Even if we did, that'd be 35. So it's definitely different. This cycle is definitely different. The pullbacks were really not as severe. This one kind of almost came down, but it really wasn't in the heat or in the main run of the cycle. This was in July. Oh, maybe not. This was kind of like in the middle, right? Bitcoin was still around 2,000 here. I remember this. So we did pull back. This one almost so much, but you can see we haven't had the pullbacks have not been as significant because in 2017 we were getting 30 to 40% pullbacks. Now we're getting, we had 130% pullback, but they're mostly like 15 to 25. Like I'd said earlier in the year that's what was I thought was likely. And the pullback, the main pullback, might not be, or I don't believe it's going to be 80 to 85%. I think we might get 60 to 65, and if that happens now, I mean that gets us all the way back down to 20. But I do firmly believe that once or I know just based off of historical data, once we get a monthly close above 2 times the prior high, which is 40,000, Bitcoin price never goes back there. So we need a big price run up, and I think that's more likely than a breakdown here. But the price run up could be substantial very quickly. What was it? I said somewhere 80,000 sometime in April. That's based off of these Mayer multiple bands, which they still are. We're still here in the middle of these. We've been cycling. We've been basically ranging in between the red and the yellow this whole uh, cycle compared to the previous ones where we would come up and then we'd break down and get back into the yellow. You can see that there's much more price support in this cycle than there was in previous cycles. Which is different because there's different actors. So this might be the new norm. We're looking at the golden ratio multiplier. Like I said, that is we've just been consolidating here. So this breaks up or this breaks down, and my math theory is a little bit rusty. This is all based off of a Fibonacci sequence. So I personally don't remember what happens or know what happens once this type of a model reaches kind of its limits, and if it just restarts or you like remodel the prices based on a new sequence. But anyway, we're consolidating around here, and we can just break up tremendous. There is another one that there's this power law model, which kind of shows that Bitcoin would be. Where's it at? Power law oscillator, I think. I thought I just saw it. There it is. Nope, not that one. Sorry. Power law long term. So that's saying right around 100,000, which kind of matches. This is in November. If we did it in April, that'd be right around 100,000. So this is kind of pretty good. Stock to flow. Stock to flow is still showing right around 100. The stock to flow across asset is showing around 200,000. So we'll see. It's nice having these models and seeing how they react every cycle. Is there anything else to show? Nope. I can go to Willy Woo's site real quick and show what his top price model is showing. That one's showing 124,000 right now, but we do have a realized price of right around 20. That's going to trend up as we do enter a bear cycle eventually. But yeah, so that's about it. Let's go over TLRY. Let's go over TLRY real quick. Because actually New York City passed a bill last week to legalize recreational marijuana for individuals over 21. So I think that was right here, where that news, the news had come out the previous day. It was the 30th, and the news came out and opened up 7% up, but it started to fade. And we're pretty much at our 1 hour support if that's the way you were trading it. We can look at the CMF. I don't think it looked that great. It was trending down. On the 4 hour, it kind of bounced. So it's definitely finding support. I do still think that this is going to be, and we hit a 9 here, and then we have a 1 to 4 candle correction. So that could be the 9, 1 to 4 candle correction, and then we can go back down and hit these Let me mark this real quick. So we marked that. So we'll see. Um, we'll see how that plays out. And I'll probably, if you're in a position, you're probably going to exit once this breaks down, unless it's, you know, clear that there's some panic selling for some reason and price is going to go back up. RSI is still, you know, rather high. Everything's kind of trending up. It's just price indecision, right? So if anything, we're ranging between like 23 and 21, uh, which is like plus or minus 5%. So it's not a big swing, but you know, if you break down here, you're probably past 21. You're most likely going uh, lower, even though that channel range would only be $2 drop. So it would be somewhere around this $18 area, which it did find support here. So that could be another area. But I mean, you can definitely see that it's just trending down. So it looks like the news of legalization is starting to become maybe a little bit more normalized, and uh, price is not reacting um, as it was in the past to such news. So because New York is a huge market, and it's just like, oh, not that big of a deal, and then comes back down. That's the news right there. It came up and then it wicked down, and that's a reversal candle, and it pretty much it looked like there was some good price movement, and then it broke down again, and we're just at it's just consolidating. It's kind of consolidating around this uh, 8 moving average on the 4 hour. Weekly, it's still trending down, so um, kind of stuck in between these Fibonacci areas. And then let me go over those stocks I talked about last week. It was like Discovery, the one with the Archegos hedge fund blow up on forced selling. Discovery's finding support. That actually looks better than the Viacom. It was an 8. I was hoping this would have been a 9. You would have had a good, argument for a reversal. But if you see here, it's still really low on the RSI. 4 hours still. I mean, this eventually is going to come back here. And for it to do that, it needs to have positive price action. So, yeah, it could trend back down. I'll pull up the CMF. And the CMF is starting to break down and prices staying flat. That's consolidation. But on the hourly, let's look at it on a smaller time frame. That's kind of trending up, which is good. RSI did trend up, but that also gives room for a breakdown, even though we are trending back down. Let's pull up the on-balance volume real quick. So on-balance volume staying flat. This needs to start trending up. There is a 9 here that's around 60. We're looking at what we're really looking at is for this to kind of move up maybe 80% of what the previous price was. What would that be? That would be around 60, which I said, yeah, around 60. So that's what we're looking for. And that would be our exit. After that, let price discovery, let the markets do their thing and find a stable price. But I think that would be a secondary high. And you can look at these moving averages where they're trending down. So if it went up to around 50 something, anywhere in this area, I would say that's probably a sell. You're not going to catch perfectly at the top, but that would be where we exit this trade if you're in it. And Viacom, you can see, is definitely showing more weakness than Discovery. So that's on an 8. It could probably hit a 9. They're two separate trades, even though they're a part of the same kind of event. They're definitely two separate trades, and this one's showing much more weakness than Discovery is. Discovery is actually looking better. Here's a 9. It didn't actually go back and retest that. It could do that. So I'll mark that. And then maybe that would indicate an area where it's going to find some more support, and then maybe it skyrockets from there. So if you're not in the trade already, you could potentially enter the trade there, because this RSI is not going to stay negative forever. On the daily, it's, maybe Monday it opens down, it hits that 9, we get a reversal, and then it starts to trend back down. Because we could hit the 9 on the daily, it could go up the 80%, and then break back down. And this would be more about like 80, but I'm saying that if you're probably between 66 and 80, that's probably a good area to exit, because it can hit a 9, have a massive reversal candle, go up over the next, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then break back down and retest that area again. So, but this is definitely an area of support. So that's still something to watch. But yeah, that's about it. So appreciate it, and thanks for watching.